Mic'd up.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Highlights from Lowlifes here on the Mic'd Up Network. Thanks for joining us tonight. If you are joining us live, make sure you hit that microphone button during the show. You can interact with us, leave us comments, crack wise about Marty's clip-on, whatever you want to do. We'll be here for you. So join us as we take this journey through the topic of the top 5 worst decisions in sports history. Before we dive in, just a reminder.
That's not the topic.
What?
It's not the topic.
What's the topic?
Oh, good. Oh, well, let's go back to my tie. At least there's.
I might have prepared for the wrong show.
Wah, 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 wah.
Yeah, thank God we look professional again. It's the top 5 feel-good stories in sports.
Well, I can turn some of these bad decisions into feel-good stories. Well, with that, I'll introduce these mooks while I rapidly think through my mind some of the feel-good stories of the sporting history. We are guys that played baseball together. During COVID, we started doing some online conversations to stay in contact with each other, and they devolved into happy hours, which devolved into these list topics. Everybody seems to like it. The mic'd up people thought it sounded like a lot of fun, and so here we are on the air with you. And so apparently tonight our topic is top 5 feel-good sports stories. And right now, I do not feel very good.
That's number 5. Okay.
Yeah. So, well, Marty, why don't you start us off? And take your time. Stretch it out.
Oh, all right. But did you mention my tie? See, it's holidays. Mentioned
it's a holiday clip-on.
Can we get over this?
Terry's not here to pick on you about it. I have to do it.
Gee, thanks. All right, number 5, feel-good story in sports. It has nothing to do with sports, but has everything to do with sports. Okay, and every time I hear it, it's feel good to me. And do I have to say anything more?
Abbott and Costello.
Abbott and Costello. Who's on first? Thank you, Terry, for those, and thank you, Jeff, for the big poster that still decorates a prominent spot on my home with all the Hall of Fame pictures that we took. But when you're in a blue mood, just put that on, and you can't help but start laughing and feeling good about the world again. So there you go. That's a nice start. Feel good moments about who's on first with Abbott and Costello. Go ahead,
Marty,
Jeff.
Marty, tell him about the Hall of Fame and what the display is at the Hall of Fame for who's on first.
Well, it's a little theater they got. You sit down, and there was these 3 other gentlemen plus 2 more, Big Juicy and Terry, and I made them sit down and watch the entire skit. I'm busting up a gut. These guys are looking at it saying, "What the hell's wrong with him now?" And they were all busting a gut at the end. I mean, come on. So how can you not enjoy the classic baseball routine of who's on first? A truly feel good moment.
So Marty could have spent the entire day watching the movie over and over
and over. Oh, that's why I do. I live alone, so what the hell? Why not?
Well, the Hall of Fame plays it on a loop, right?
Yeah, yes. They do. Yep. All right, go ahead, Jeff.
All right, I'm going to take one that's probably on all of our lists. I'm going to steal it before anybody else has a chance to say it.
I don't have a list.
For the record.
And it's probably on all of our lists because all 4 of us and the 2 others mentioned, Big Juicy and Terry, saw it in person. and that was Liam Hendriks' return to the mound after defeating cancer.
Yep.
I mean, the moment itself was pretty big for anybody knowing what people go through in cancer battles. And to have somebody at that elite of a talent come back to be able to perform at that, and then to be able to see it in person with the music and the lights and the crowd and his family there and everything else, pretty darn special. It's not something you can forget pretty easily. So that's mine, Liam Hendriks.
Yep. Good pick.
Yeah, very good pick.
All right, Weber, let's give Robbie some more time.
He was much happier handling the ones that were disasters. But
I have a huge list of those.
feel good, just not in his wheelhouse.
No.
we can play Evan Costello.
All right, I'm going to go with Jim Morris, the Tampa Bay Rays pitcher that debuted in the major leagues at age 35. He was a high school pitcher who hurt his arm, became a school teacher, and was the baseball coach at the high school he was teaching at. And he challenged his kids. He said, if you guys win a championship, then I'll try out for professional baseball again. And he did, and got signed and debuted with the Rays at age 35. Of course, most of you have probably seen the movie before called The Rookie from 2002 with Dennis Quaid playing Jim Morris. Great feel-good story. And I guess Morris is back to teaching today. So that's my number 5. Did I stall enough, Rob? Did you have something?
Well, I give that a 3. That was good.
I'm working on the list here. It's kind of fun to do it on the fly, actually.
I got you. I'll buy you a couple more seconds.
Okay.
Webby, that is my number 1 absolute favorite movie of all time, The Rookie. And
Excellent.
Thank you for bringing that one up.
That's I always try to please our fans. Yes.
All right. Well, all right. So my number 5 is a multi-parter. Yeah, because if I got to drag this out as long as possible, I'm going to make it a multi-parter. My feel-good story, and it was actually when we first brought up the topic that apparently I forgot about. The first thing that came to my mind was Jim Abbott, and Jim Abbott, with the missing a hand. So I mean, you could say feel-good story, how well he pitched at Michigan. And then getting drafted to the Major League Baseball is a feel-good story. Then him actually succeeding and being an all-star pitcher. But to cap it off, when he was with the Yankees, Jim Abbott overcoming all that adversity and everything, and just got to the point where people didn't even think of him as a person that missing a hand or anything like that. He was just a ball player. But Jim Abbott came through and got that no-hitter with the Yankees, and that was huge. Mm-hmm. That was just a real amazing achievement for everything. I mean, he has all the pressure of every pitcher else, every major league player and every pitcher has on him, plus having to work around having a missing ability. So he's that's a pretty good feel-good story, the things that he was able to accomplish in his career. So.
Very good.
Nice.
Thank you.
Excellent recovery.
Have a drink. Have a drink.
So, good call. By the way, I think Big Juicy had a comment for me.
I think you need to ask him what you're drinking.
That would have been able to. Yeah, you could have stalled us, but we have to do one more round.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on into number 4. Jonesy, it's good to have you back on the show tonight. Why don't you start this one?
All right. There's a Female football reporter, online social media presence, and her name is Annie Agar, Agar, and she's pretty funny and she's pretty intelligent about what she talks about. And I found out about her family. She kept posting things about how much she was proud of her brother and her father, so I went and looked it up. Her brother was born with cerebral palsy and has struggled his whole life, and their parents have taught them to kind of respect life and look at things a little bit differently, and appreciate and how to get through life. And so her brother Johnny found this group called My Team Triumph, and it helps people with disabilities get into social situations and physical activities and things to have some connection to other people and out in the real world type stuff. Through that, he started running some 5Ks and some half marathons and some marathons in his wheelchair, and some he can get around on a mobile scooter and stuff like that. And then their father, who was a former minor league pitcher, started doing runs himself, started training and doing runs. And they figured between the two of them, I think we got something here. Let's put this together. And together, with dad pushing or pulling, depending on the aspect, they completed an Ironman
Oh, wow.
together. And then they've gone through to make this whole life of bringing awareness to disabilities and bringing awareness to uh, basically persevering over all the odds. And they've written books, and they talk. They do speaking events, and they've done over 30 different Ironman events together now, and it's pretty incredible what they've accomplished. So that's my feel good, the Agar family.
Excellent.
Good call.
Marty.
Thank you. I don't know how to. This is okay. Because you see it in a number of clips on the internet. So I guess I can any reunion of a kid with his military parent that's been away
Hmm.
always hits me. And you see it in different sports. I just wanted to say, as a football, the dad shows up as a football referee. He's going to toss the coin, and one of the captains is his kid. Or the lady umpire is actually the mom when the kid comes up the bat. Any number of those, and all sorts of different things. And anytime you see a reunion like that, it's got to hit you. And it seems to be more and more organizations are being more and more open to, and opposing coaches, especially. These are youth games or maybe even high school games, and there's something on the line for them. But anytime they come into the situation, it's they realize the game has its place. So in any time you see that, I always get choked up about those. I think those are that needs to be said. So there you go. And
Nice.
again, we're letting Robbie has as much time as he can. So Webby, help yourself out.
All right. This is kind of similar to my first one, which was the Jim Morris story. There was a pitcher in the 1930s by the name of Monty Stratton.
Right.
Came up with I believe the White Sox.
Is that the
And
Stratton story?
Right, the Stratton
Yeah.
story, starring Jimmy Stewart, is modeled after Monty Stratton's career. Stratton was doing really well in the big leagues, but in a hunting accident in 1938, he shot his leg was shot and had to be amputated. So he got used to life with a prosthetic leg, but decided at a certain point that he thought he could come back to pitching. And while he never made it back to the major leagues again, he pitched in the minor leagues from 1946 to 53,
Wow.
doing relatively well, mainstay of his teams, and all of that on one leg. So, the movie's very well done, very
Yep.
very good acting. So it's a recommended film, and that's my number 4 feel good story. All right,
Cool.
Robbie.
I'm ready.
We're
Okay.
waiting.
Now I'm ready.
We're waiting.
I am waiting. My number 4 feel good story, Minnie Minoso, who played forever for the White Sox, a little bit with Cardinals and Senators, and I think one other team, maybe the Indians. He came up in 1949, one of the first Latin players to ever play in the majors after Jackie Robinson. So he played in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. 1964 was the end of his playing career. In 1976, the White Sox brought him back. So that became the 5th decade that he played in. He actually got a hit at the age of 50. He got a hit for the Sox. They brought him back again in 1980, so he played in 6 decades. Got into 2 games as a 60-year-old, and then he played in the Northern League in 1993. So, I mean, technically, that's a 7-decade player. And the thing was, it sounds like a stunt, but Minnie Minoso loved baseball. He loved the game. He coached it right after he retired. He coached up until the White Sox brought him in, and as soon as in '76, as soon as that little stint was over, he went back into coaching. He worked at some of those academies that they have built down in the Caribbean, and then he coached all the way till the end of his life. He loved the game. He didn't do it for him. It wasn't a stunt. For him, it was love of the game. So that's always a feel good story for us guys that love the game as much as we do. The Minnie Minoso story makes me feel pretty damn good.
Great.
Yep. So there we go. That's round 4, right?
Yep.
Well,
See,
that
Clipping along.
begs.
Clipping along.
Your recovery has been excellent so far. It's
Well,
like
that's
you
what they
haven't
told
missed
me
a
at
beat.
rehab, which of course begs the question: what you drinking? So yes, once again, we're doing What You Drinking. We're sponsored here on Mic'd Up by Almanac Brewing, our good friends in Alameda, California, one of the premier craft brewers in the country. We all certainly enjoy different variations of the mini beers that they produce. Once again tonight, I'm drinking the Porchlight Lager, part of their rotating lager series. This is out for another month or so before they come up with something new and crazy after the first of the year. So look for this everywhere. And as I always say, my tagline: like a moth to a light, I'm drawn to this beer. So, what you guys drinking?
Well, everybody knows my answer.
Yeah,
It's been the same since we started. Haven't changed. The True Kolsch. Still loving it.
nice choice. Marty, Rob? Yeah, let's Marty go because the Rob one always turns into chaos.
Drinking the flow tonight. It's called a West Coast Pale Ale, and I don't like pale ales, but I have to rethink this because it's a darn good beer. It's a very nicely done. A nice bouquet of the hops, but so you're looking for something that you're going to have to bite to get down, but it flows great, and that's truly why they named Flow. You know, you haven't figured that out? You got that? You get it?
I see.
Drink this stuff. It's good. Drink this stuff.
I, of course, am drinking the Distance to the Sun Sparkling Ale. This is an ale brewed with passion fruit and pineapple. It's fruity, tart, and juicy. It says so here on the label. I've got a case of this, and I'm about halfway through. And by the time I finish, it will be my favorite beer. So
Just in
thank
time
you.
for them to stop producing it. Well, Thank you, Almanac. We appreciate the continued support and all the beer we get to consume for you. If you're in Alameda, swing on by the brewery. They love visitors. They got a great setup. It's a fun brewery to visit in a cool location, and it's right off of Willie Stargell Drive for all you baseball heads. It's everything is seamless when we get our hands involved with it. We got a couple of what you drinking comments. What was that, Jeff?
I was going to say we got a couple of comments.
Yeah.
Okay, what am I drinking? I'm going to let you guys guess. Okay, I'm sure you recognize that song, Led Zeppelin, Whole Lot of Love, and I am drinking Big Love, Double Hazy IPA. So delicious, 9.0 ABV, getting me in the holiday spirit super fast.
Wow. Yeah, I bet it is.
Going to get it a lot of places super fast.
Big Juicy's bringing the heat. And then our buddy JC.
What you drinking? Accepting the challenge of Tanner Boyle, otherwise known as Robbie, I saw some Almanac Rocktoberfest on the shelves, and I purchased it up. Very tasty.
Well,
Prost.
Oh, yeah, I always forget he has a long pause there to try to sucker us in like a bad answering machine joke. That Rocktoberfest, it's still good. It may not be October, but that beer is good until about March. So if you find it out there, it is delicious, and it's part of this lager series too. So anyway, that's enough of that. Thank you, Almanac. Let's get back to the show. Mr. Weber, why don't you start off round 3 for us?
Okay. Let's go to 2004. The hated New York Yankees are defeated by the Boston Red Sox in the playoff series.
Ooh.
After being down 3-0. You can hate the Boston Red Sox, but you probably hate the New York Yankees even more. So there were a lot of people watching that saying, they got a chance after they won that first game, and they kept getting closer and closer and closer. And all the pivotal plays in that series, the Dave Roberts stolen base, the Bill Miller RBI, Kevin Millar's speeches to the team to get them ready to go and cowboy up. And of course, David Ortiz's big hit that won the series for them. And the vaunted Yankees had to walk off the field as losers. I know our friends at Yankees Coast to Coast are not going to be happy with this, but that was
Tough.
truly a feel-good moment for me to watch the Yankees and their $8 billion payroll go down the drain. So that's my number 3.
Nice.
Jeff.
Okay, I don't have a lot of details on this one because it's just a viral video. So I don't know where this took place. I don't know any of the names of the people involved. There's just always a good story when you see youth sports and good sportsmanship. So, youth baseball game, kid comes up to bat, and the text on the screen says, "This is the kid's first at bat since playing last year when he had to have emergency open heart surgery."
A kid? A kid?
Yes.
Oh, geez.
He comes back this year. This is his first at bat, and the video's on him. And the catcher calls time, goes out to the front of the plate and gestures up to his team, turns around and shakes the kid's hand. And every member of the other team comes up and shakes the kid's hand, goes back to the field, and they start playing. That's a pretty cool moment.
Yeah,
I'm good with that.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah,
I'd heard about it too, Jeff, but I don't like you. I don't have many details.
yeah.
But
It
I
was
guess
just
the parents were overwhelmed by it.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I'll throw it back to you, Webby.
Well, I started this round.
Oh, okay, Marty.
This is difficult because it's something that came out of a tragedy, and it looks like there was because I wrote this last few days ago, and it looks like there's an additional tragedy today in Las Vegas. Jeff helped me move there when I moved down there, and it was about a month later they had what they called the Route 91 massacre, and 58 people died, and I guess there was another shooting today. But anyway, what does that have to do with sports, Marty? Well, let me share it with you. The hockey game. It's a vision a hockey game, and we haven't started yet, and so they're about to do the national anthem. So where do the teams line up? One lines up on one's blue line, and the other lines up on the other blue line, and the singer comes out somewhere and sings a song. The first game after that, the Golden Knights escorted out onto the middle of the ice a first responder or someone who showed some heroism. And then here's the Golden Knights lining up on the blue line. But the best part about it was the Arizona Coyotes, who are on their blue line, and together skated across and stood behind the Vegas team as stating, "We're behind you guys." It was totally impromptu, and it really touched me. Because it was just right at the end of it, and it wasn't staged or anything. And the guys in the after the game in the locker room said, "We knew what we were getting into, but we can make a statement too." And I thought that was a hell of a gesture. So mine is the Arizona Coyotes at the hockey game. So
Good choice.
thank you. Okay. All right, Robbie, you're up. Okay. Good luck.
I got so many to choose from.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
But I'm going to go again. It's baseball. And like we've said many, many times, we're all baseball guys. And I think if you were writing your own story, you would write it this way, that after being one of the greatest hitters of all time, a World War II flying ace, a Korean War flying ace, kind of pissing off the media and the local fans and then winning them back late in your career, to walk up to home plate in your final at bat, knowing it's your final at bat. Everybody in the stadium knows it's your final at bat, and you hit a home run like Ted Williams did. I mean, come on, that's just the ultimate, right? I mean, that's just what could possibly be better. So yeah, that's a pretty good feel good moment, even though I wasn't even born yet. Whenever you see those clips and you hear people talk about it, I mean, that's pretty amazing. So Ted Williams, home run, final at bat.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good choice.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. All right, we turn the corner. We're coming into round two. This should be fun because I've got at least 20 to pick out for my top two.
Then go first.
All right, I'll go first. I'll go first. All right. So here's another one that happened before I was born, but the more we learn about it every year and each passing year, the more important it becomes and the better I feel about it. And maybe in my mind I see it the way it was represented in the film, but the moment in 42, I believe, when they were in Pittsburgh and Pee Wee Reese walked over to Jackie Robinson and put his arm around him out there in the middle of the field. Allegedly, they used the line in the movie. Allegedly, Pee Wee Reese said, "Maybe someday we'll all weigh the same number, so they can't tell us apart."
Yeah,
I think that's huge, and I mean, at that moment, that changed. Jackie Robinson changed baseball, and Pee Wee Reese changed baseball further after that by that gesture. I think that's huge, and that's something we can all be pretty proud about, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, Jonesy,
All right. Does anybody know who Zach Conte is?
is he one of the Jonas Brothers?
No, because he's not named Jonas.
Like the Ramones were not named the Ramones, so come on.
So
They're not?
Zach Conte is a football player at Eastern Michigan. So what story does Eastern Michigan have to tell us about? Zach Conte is a walk-on. And he made the team as a walk-on, but he's got no scholarship. They've got no scholarships left to give. They've given all their scholarships out. He works a whole bunch of odd jobs. He's putting himself through school. He's getting his degree. He's even selling his own plasma to make money to pay for school. So one of his teammates, Brian Dooley, talks it over with his parents, gets up at the beginning of the season, gets his coach, tells his coach about it. Coach says, we got X number of scholarships on this team. We've got them all filled. I've asked for one more. They didn't give it to me. So Brian Dooley is giving his scholarship to Zach Conte.
Wow.
And just handed over the scholarship in full, talked it over with his parents, said, we can afford this. He can't. Let's make this happen. And the kid gets a free ride for the rest of his football career to get his degree and move on with his life. So that's my number 2, giving away a football scholarship to a teammate.
Good call. I didn't know that story. That's great.
It's pretty cool. Weber.
Okay, I'm kind of surprised this hasn't been mentioned yet, but the 1980 U.S. Olympic hockey team, they did something that was pretty feel good, beating the Russians, being the incredible underdog, basically capturing the United States attention when they were able to work their way through the early rounds and even get into the finals. A lot of those players went on to have NHL careers that were, good careers, but nothing great. But just the fact that they were able to gel as a team and take on what many people think is the best hockey team in the world.
Yeah.
Even if we're talking professional sports, the Russian national team would do very well in the NHL. So, boom, the United States wins, and we here we are, 40 something years later, still talking about what a tremendous time that was. So that's number 2 for me.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, when I thought this was top 5 biggest blunders in sports, I actually had at least an honorable mention when they pulled Tikhonov, the greatest possible goalie of all time, in that game. And for inexplicable reasons, we didn't even really know today why that happened. They pulled the goalie, and so see how I came full circle and tied that together.
It's nobody will know.
Okay.
It's almost like I intended to do it.
All right, Marty, did you have a pick this round?
Yeah, I do. And I'm gonna tie it in with my first round pick. I'm serious. I want everybody to write down this name. Everybody that's on this on the call or in there in TV land. Jack Hoffman. Now we have Cornhusker 69 who'll appreciate this because Jack Hoffman and the 2013 Nebraska spring game. Okay. Yeah, you have to see this to really appreciate it. That's why I have you do this. But Jack at that time was 7 years old and just went through surgery for brain cancer. And his how he got into that situation, I don't know. Somebody heard something with anyway. But Jack is in a little Nebraska uniform coming onto the field at the last play of the spring game, and he's going to run the ball. And they give and it's all on the video, and it's just super. where they give him the ball and he's running the wrong way. So they have to stop him and get him to run the right way. He goes around the end and runs all the way down 69, 70 yards for a touchdown. And the entire team runs into the end zone after him, hoists him up on the shoulder. The crowd is just going berserk. And this is one of those great moments that you realize how sports can elevate human kindness. And again, look it up. Jack Hoffman and a 2013 Nebraska spring game. And you love it because the kid was just, you could see he was having a ball and everybody was following along with it. And it was a terrific moment. Pull it up. Check it out.
Excellent.
Thank you. I think I was the last one, wasn't I?
I think so.
Okay.
Oh, well, in that case,
you know what? We haven't had a good discussion lately about those other programs that are on the Mic'd Up ad. We should have let's do that. Let's have a conversation. And Rob, you're the expert on this. Why don't you pick up the ball and hey, what else is going on this channel?
Well, it's I can do that, and it's great that Terry's not here to talk over me this time.
I mean, I can do that if you want. If it makes you feel more comfortable.
I'm good, really. I'm good.
Are you sure? Because I'm glad to
I
help
know
out any way that I can. I mean, I feel bad that I was not prepared. So
it
the
shows
best
on
I
your
can
face.
do is fill in that spot. So
all right, go ahead.
Great. Okay. No, I'm done.
All right, I'm going to cover the other shows on the platform. But first of all, Mic'd Up, thanks again for allowing us to do our show every Wednesday at 6 p.m. For those of you new to the show, if you want to interact with us either before or during the show, just hit the microphone down at the bottom of the screen and you can record a 30-second comment or question for us. And then just send it in and it'll pop it up on a list that we can see. We've got a whole bunch of comments tonight, so this will be fun. So Mic'd Up has some other shows on the platform. Earlier today at 4:00 Pacific, Jim Darby did a show. Jim is a former executive at Easton Sports, and he has written a couple of books, including one called Bears in the Bigs, Cow Bears who have reached the major leagues. Jim will pontificate about stories of the day as well as chapters from his book, specific players that he talks about. I listened to Jim's show today, and he had quite the rant about the transfer portal in college sports, which he is not happy with. And I don't know too many people who are, so
yeah.
it was fun to listen to his reasons, and they kind of coincide with mine. So look for Jim. He's bi-weekly on the platform, 4:00 Pacific time. He'll be in the upcoming shows within the app. Let's see. Hall of Fame Conversations. This is the Florida Sports Hall of Fame. There's a show on the platform that is pops up from time to time, hosted by John Rieger and Barry Smith. Barry is an ex-NFL player, and John is a teaching PGA pro. But what they have in common is a passion for Florida sports, and they bring on guests that have been inducted into the Florida Sports Hall of Fame, like Wade Boggs and Fred Biletnikoff. The Boggs show was last week. It was very interesting what he had to say about his life. There's a lot of things that were covered way beyond the obvious stuff that we all know, and that's the kind of talk show that I like listening to. And John and Barry are really good at asking good questions of their guests. The Rick Barry Show, NBA and ABA Hall of Famer Rick Barry has a show that's on from time to time. He's got a host named Cyrus, and Cyrus kind of moderates the show for Rick and handles all the questions that come in. And Rick usually gets to all the questions. And for those of you who've heard Rick before, he's pretty opinionated. So if you have a question, don't be insulted by his answer. He's just telling you what he thinks. He had a really good show last week where he discussed some of the players that won Rookie of the Year in the NBA around the time that he was breaking in, and how he compared to them, and how their careers went. It's good discussion. He talks a lot of Warriors as well. The last one I wanted to talk about was our friends at Yankees Coast to Coast, or Coast to Coast Yankees. The name of the show keeps changing on I think they need to stick with one. These are our friends, Mike Miller and Adam Schneider. And Mike and Adam bring in their friends from New York Yankees fantasy camp. Their friends include former campers and former players that are working the camp. And they have a topic of the day, much like we do. They've had some good ones, like what do the Yankees need to do to get better next year? Well, I think it's probably pull off a Juan Soto trade like they did today. So it'll be interesting to hear what their comments are about that trade. I think that was a 7-player trade. If you want to know who's in it, take a look online. But very passionate Yankee fans. They just want their team to win. They want their team to be better. And they're very good storytellers. Those guys have been running in rotation on a 4 p.m. show on Thursdays, Pacific time. So take a look for that. All right. Those are the ones that have been in regular rotation. If there's any new shows coming up, I will let you know. All right, Rob.
All right. Well, that brings us to round one. Anybody anybody feeling
There's
it?
no music for that. Round one. Dun, da, da,
Geez, how about that?
wasn't quite what I was after. No, no.
Here, this will do. Let's do round one.
Oh,
You're getting there. You're getting there. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll start again. I'm happy to get this rolling. After deliberating for the last 42 minutes about what I would pick for my number one, I think I'm going to go with, and we all know it from the film. It's a great movie. It's a little sappy, but extremely heartwarming. And the story's true. There's a great documentary about it that ESPN, I think it's one of their 30 for 30 things. The Rudy Rudiger story. To be that much in love with that school and trying to, demonstrate to your family that you can do something that nobody in the world thinks you can do, and you pull it off, and to dedicate yourself the way he did, and then have your teammates stand up for you at the very end to make sure that you got into that last game. Not only you got the dress and then actually got into the game. That's pretty awesome. That's just really it's a great feeling story. It's a great feeling movie, and the documentary is really interesting too. He's quite the great speaker, quite a motivator. So the Rudy Rudiger story's got to be number one for me, for sure.
Very nice.
Thanks.
You did
Marty?
You did a nice recovery job tonight. I'm
Thank
very
you.
Very impressed. Yeah.
Fortunately, I only had 1.5 beers before I got into having to make my list.
I'll give you a 2. That's all right.
Come on. Oh, that's a birdie in golf. Golf clap.
Well, as I said earlier, this is another name I truly want everybody to write down and pull it up on YouTube, because it's a way it seems to parallel Mr. Lanterman's story. The name is Jason McElwain.
You just took my number one. Thanks.
Oh, did I really? No. Okay, fine. Go for it.
Go for it.
No,
you
I got another one. I got another one.
I got another one too.
All
I
He
got
right.
took a
another one
number
too. Go
2 on
for
his
it.
number 1.
Okay.
Go for it.
Young Mr. This is a basketball story. And back in, I think, now correct me if I get some of the details wrong, Jeff. I think February 2006 is what now Mr. McElwain was highly functional but autistic, and he was the manager of the team. And he enjoyed basketball. He loved basketball, so he was cheering on his teammates and all that, and being very supportive. And the coach decided that on the last game, just like Mr. Landerman was saying with Rudy Rudiger, he's going to let him suit up. This was Greece Athena High School in Rochester, New York. Well, the coach decided to let the kid in the game. And everybody knew who Jason was. Like I said, he was the manager of the team for a long time. And everybody was kind of cheering and excited that he's now playing in the game. They gave him the ball. He hit the first shot. He chunks it. Air ball. Wasn't even close. Oh, well. Okay. All right. So they go down, and then he gets the ball again, and he tries it again. He hits a 3. The place goes bonkers. It continued. The kid hit 6 threes in a row. And if you watch this video, the gym is erupting. These people cannot control themselves. 3, 2, 1, the game is over. They charge the court. They lift this kid up on his shoulders. And till this day, he's still, there's even a video there. 10 years later, it was done in 2016. The kid has gone on. He's a coach now, and he's just what handicap did this kid have? It's all about, once again, sports rising to the occasion to better humanity. And I saw it on the internet, and I have to keep watching it. It was just terrific. Okay, Jeff, what did I get wrong?
No, you nailed it all.
Okay, thanks.
You nailed it all.
And I apologize.
I am surprised that we haven't had more crossover up until this point. So
yeah.
Well, it helps if one person doesn't do their homework, then that
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
helps the whole situation out.
Hey, but just like in school, I didn't do my homework and I still passed the test.
And he took the easy one. Yeah, Miracle on
That
Ice.
says more about our
who had
education
out?
system
Okay.
than
Hey,
it
I didn't
does
take
you.
the hockey. I didn't take the hockey.
Weber, go ahead.
Okay, you guys are going to roll your eyes, so you can start rolling your eyes.
Oh.
So we all have our favorite team, and just because it's your favorite team doesn't mean it's not a feel good moment. I'm sure some of our callers will talk about the Giants World Series and things like that. But as you know, I'm a Cubs fan, and a feel good moment for me was seeing the Cubs win the World Series in 2016. It was just something that many of us thought we'd never see in our lifetime. There's lots of Cub fans across the country that were crying when this happened. And just to give you an idea of how many people wanted to be attached to this event, when they did the World Series parade through Chicago after the Cubs won, they estimated 5 million people attended.
Wow.
Which according to Wikipedia is the 13th largest attendance for any event in the history of mankind. So I think it was pretty important. And it was great to see, they're on the threshold of being eliminated, down 3 games to 1, and they come back and win. And in that final game, they think they're going to win, then it gets tied up, and then they have to win it again in extra innings. It was just soul crushing. I mean, it was so hard to watch. It was the best and worst game I've ever seen before. So that's my number one feel good story.
And
I think
all 5 million went to the Goat Tavern afterwards to get a cheeseburger,
Exactly.
cheeseburger.
no, they went to Murphy's Bleachers, behind center field in Chicago. I figure if I plug them, maybe I'll get a free beer next time.
Yeah.
But
Good
you know
luck with
what?
that.
I think Giants and Red Sox fans can relate to that.
Yeah.
Yes.
That 2010, 2004 for the Sox. I mean, yeah.
All right.
Leaves
Did
Jonesy, right?
everybody
Jonesy.
finish this round?
No, we got Jonesy to go.
I
still got mine.
stole Jonesy. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So I'm going to replace it with a name that most sports fans have heard of,
Kerry Strug.
especially football
No?
fans.
Oh, okay. I missed it.
The name Rocky Blyer.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
For those that don't know, Rocky was drafted by the Steelers and then was drafted into Vietnam.
Yep.
And while in Vietnam, he got shot in the leg. And while he was down on the ground, a grenade landed near him. And it went through the shrapnel went through his leg and tore up his other leg and tore up his foot. He was told he would never play again. He was told he could barely walk again. But he went back and he worked out with the team for 2 years, made it back to the special teams, and kept working for 2 more years and made it back to the starting lineup after 4 years. After barely being able to walk, after having something that none of us can comprehend, and he made it back to the starting lineup, was a starter for the Steelers in 74.
Awesome.
That's
I
pretty
think he
good
won
story.
I think he won a Super Bowl with them.
I think he was on those teams in the 70s. Yeah.
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 The
The
he was a
Bradshaw
darn good
teams.
blocker. He was for Franco Harris too.
Right.
Yeah.
He was in the
opened up
backfield of Franco Harris. Right.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
All
Great
right.
pick.
All right. I think we've done very well for ourselves. Great
Well,
diversity.
that would be a
of,
first.
Some more
Yeah.
than others.
Hey, I'll take my B and leave. Thank you. And I think many of our callers tonight, I don't know, Jonesy, you want to play them or you want me to?
Go for it.
Okay. I think some of our callers have outclassed us as well. So Big Juicy looks like a 3-parter for him.
Okay.
A few years back in Seattle at a Mariners game, Evelyn Jones got her birthday wish and was selected to throw out the first pitch. And she chose Felix Hernandez as the person to receive her throw. And following that, everybody in Safeco Field sang her happy birthday. The kicker is, what made it so very special is Evelyn Jones was 108 years old, possibly the oldest person to throw out a pitch in Major League Baseball.
Wow.
He's Big Juicy's got kind of a whole Paul Harvey thing going, doesn't he?
He does.
Here's the rest of the story.
The story.
All right, part 2 for Big Juicy.
A couple of weeks ago, the Philadelphia Flyers had an extra coach behind the bench. They issued a contract for a bench enforcer for a one-day contract, and that person was Owen Mikishi, a 9-year-old boy who's been fighting cancer since he was 6 months old. Owen plays for a Pee Wee hockey team, and he was outfitted in his full gear, including his stick. No good hockey player is ever seen without his stick.
Nice.
Sweet.
So I got an honorable mention since Marty had one similar and Juicy had one. Connor Michalik was a big fan of wrestling and had a favorite wrestler. And he was diagnosed with cancer, and he got to go to meet his favorite wrestler. They brought him down to the ring. They brought every superstar from the back around the ring. And one of the bad guys got into the ring, and Connor got to clothesline him and pin him 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring with all the other wrestlers around. And then the WWE named their cancer charity after him.
Oh, wow.
So that was pretty cool.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Good knowledge. All right, Big Juicy's bringing it home here.
A few years back, Jake Olson was a backup long snapper for the USC Trojans. and he was on the team for his entire 4 years at USC. Not so unusual, perhaps, you think, but in Jake's case, very, very unusual. Jake is totally blind and was able to develop the skill of being a long snapper while at high school and carried that over into his career at USC.
I remember that. I remember
I
seeing the
certainly
game
did.
where they let him snap one.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, the way they played against UCLA this year probably was a benefit.
Ouch.
All
Well,
right.
since you brought it up, is the Sports Hall of Fame guys going to do a show about Florida State being screwed out of the? Oh, sorry. Forget it. I didn't say it. Forget it. Back. Edit.
Art,
I'll send him a note.
Big Juicy's already got his comeback.
Oh, he does? I'm
Yep.
glad you saw that. Oh, yeah.
Hey, that was a low blow.
All right. So I've been waiting for this since about 5:30 when I saw this. We have Ezra von Mermelschwanz. No joke. That's the name.
Right.
Well, I'm sure that by drinking a German style lager from Almanac Brewing in Alameda, California, that I'm able to get the pronunciation more
Guys,
proper.
this is a great question. My name is Ezra, and under the old farts are people 2 category of feel good, Drew Maggie, 47th round draft choice out of the Diamondbacks 2008, finally made his debut with the Pirates this year, struck out on a pitch clock violation, but then went on to a 2-for-6 career, 333 lifetime batting average, and retired at 35 years old.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's
He was
perfect.
he was on my minor league. He was on my honorable mentions. 1,154 minor league games before he got called up.
Wow.
Talk about following that baseball dream. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Number 5, 2012 World Series, Pablo Sandoval. Number 4, 2010 World Series, Edgar Renteria. Number 3, 2014 World Series, Madison Bumgarner. Number 2, Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy.
Yep.
Number 1, Dave Dravecky. Tragedy, triumph, tragedy, and ultimately triumph.
Yep.
All right. Nice job by JC.
Got it all in one.
Yeah.
He's getting good at that. All right. We have one more. It was a compliment to me earlier, but I didn't want to brag.
Robbie, you picked a wonderful one with the Rudy story, and I think that's amazing as your number one. I didn't do a list this week, but I will say, besides the rookie, my favorite, I will say the Dave Dravecky would be probably my number one, if not number two. Giants pitcher. Amazing story.
All right. 2 for Dravecky.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's been the Dravecky stories floating around recently. I think he won some kind of award, and of course, the YouTube videos of him fracturing his arm during a pitch are back up and popular on the internet because of this award.
Right.
But yeah, he's such a nice guy, and never complained, just always smile on his face. Remember, I here's a guy, he loses his primary arm, and he's signing baseballs. He put the baseball between his legs while he's sitting down, and then signs it with his opposite hand. So of course his signature is very different now, but he's signing baseballs.
Yeah.
It's just a wonderful guy.
Nice.
Yep. All right. So I think we're at honorable mentions.
I've got a few I can run through.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Vladimir Konstantinov, the Detroit hockey player, former Russian hockey player, and was probably on that Russian 80 team, I think. But he played for the Red Wings, was a champion, won a Stanley Cup with them, And then while they were out at a golf event, celebrate one of the public things they were doing with the Stanley Cup, a couple of them were in a limousine, and the limousine driver was drunk and crashed, and he was paralyzed.
Mm.
When they won the next year, they brought him out onto the ice in his wheelchair, put the cup in his lap, and wheeled him around so the fans could cheer him.
Wow.
That I always
Very
liked that
cool.
one.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then,
good one.
have you heard of Tommy Kono? World champion and Olympic champion weightlifter.
I want you to say the name again, just to see if it jars anything.
Tommy Kono.
No.
Okay. Champion weightlifter, world champion, Olympic champion. It wasn't that he won, it was how he trained to be a world champion in a Japanese internment camp.
Oh, wow.
That's where he trained, and then he went into the army. Even though U.S. did that to him, he still went and fought for the U.S. Army, and that's where they discovered how strong he was and what training he'd been in, and they got him on track to train for world weightlifting competitions.
Wow.
And to go off of the Ted Williams final at bat, we just had one recently in the Bay Area. Stephen Vogt. Did you guys see his last at bat?
Yep.
His kids announced him, and his last at bat, he hits a home run and tips his cap and says goodbye. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
At the Oakland Coliseum with well over 300 people in the stands.
Yep.
Shameful.
And now he's a big league manager.
Yep. Who hired him?
Cleveland.
Guardians.
Cleveland.
Yeah, the Guardians.
Yeah.
Who else? Anybody got? I got a
I got one. I don't know if you guys remember this. This was in 2004. NBA game. Houston Rockets are down by 8 points with 42 seconds to go. And Tracy McGrady scored 13 points in 33 seconds. He was draining a series of threes during this time, a comedy of turnovers and things like that. But he drained all of these threes over the top NBA defender of its time, Bruce Bowen. The Rockets eventually won the game 81-80. And the people that were commentating on the game, that if he had continued at that pace for an entire game, he would have scored 1,069 points.
Oh man!
All right, Marty. I didn't mean to cut you off. What'd you have?
Oh, this is a personal one, and I'm going to ask Jeff to help me out with this. In our league, we did a tournament a few years back in Tahoe, and this was when we had the A's guys versus the Giants guys, and Jeff and I were on the same one of the A's teams, and the other A's team was just loaded with all the better ball players, and they were just beating up on everybody. And I think we lost all our games in that tournament going into the last game where we had to take on the other A's guys. And we got ahead and we kept holding them off. And it was in my mind, it was the personal triumph that we beat those guys at the end. I mean, we shut those suckers up. And it really was something, we talk about these great moments, and these kids and players deserve much more than we do. But just put it on a personal level. Every once in a while, hey, you can pull it off every once in a while yourself. So, yeah. That's it. Sorry.
Well, I got a couple. Imagine that.
All right.
No.
Eddie the Eagle.
Oh, yes.
Remember Eddie the Eagle? The ski jumper for England in the Olympics, that he just was not very good, but he had a passion for it.
The guy at the end of the Wild World of Sports, the clip.
Yep.
He is the agony of defeat.
No, that's a different
That's
guy.
a different guy.
Eddie the Eagle. England didn't have a ski jumper in the Olympic team, and he got himself there, even
Yeah.
though he had limited ability at best,
Yeah.
and actually was able to jump in the Olympics. And
Wow.
I think he still finished last, but the whole story is pretty spectacular. It's a lot of fun. Then the other one for old guys in 1986. Out of nowhere, a 46-year-old Jack Nicklaus comes out of the crowd, pulls away from the pack, and wins the Masters. Golf's most prestigious event, and here 46-year-old guy blowing away all these young kids and passing them by and shooting 30 on the back nine to win
Good
the Masters,
God.
pulling away. That's a pretty good story.
Yeah.
So,
Wow. Wow. I get 30 on one hole and I'm satisfied.
So, all right, you guys got anything else?
Think that's it.
Cool.
Okay. Well, thanks again, as always, for tuning in to Highlights from Lowlifes. Thank you to our good friends at Almanac Brewing, Alameda, California. Stop by, tell them you see the show. They'll give you a pity beer. So I think that's it. I'm hoping we'll put up our next show here in the next day or two, and I'm hoping it's the top 5 worst decisions in sports history, because then I don't have to do homework again. So with
Maybe.
that,
All right.
thanks.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.
That's all, folks.